Over decades in my practice, I've seen the silent suffering a swollen hemorrhoid can cause. That constant fear before going to the bathroom, the sharp pain that steals your peace, the feeling that your own body has betrayed you. What if I told you that the solution you seek might not be in the bathroom cabinet, but in your kitchen? That the ointment you use is, at best, a small bandage for a much deeper wound? This is the truth that many are slow to discover. Today, I'm not just going to give you a shopping list. I'm going to show you exactly how 8 specific foods can act as a veritable anti-inflammatory army within your body, deflating that stubborn vein and bringing you the relief you so deserve. Stay with me, because what I'm going to share goes beyond simple tips. I'll explain to you why behind your pain, with the same clarity I use with my patients. You'll understand the mechanics of inflammation and the pressure that generates this crisis. You'll feel that click moment when everything starts to make sense, but most importantly, you'll feel hope. Real hope based on science and practical experience. However, I need to be honest. Ignoring this internal inflammation, continuing to simply mask the symptoms, is like ignoring the oil light on your car's engine. At first, it's just a nuisance, but the risk is a total and catastrophic failure. What starts as swelling can progress to bleeding, hemorrhoidal thrombosis, excruciating pain, and the need for invasive procedures that could have been avoided. So, the question that brought you here may not just be what to eat, but rather, is there a way to truly begin healing this from the inside out, so I no longer have to live in fear of the next day of pain? The answer is yes, and that healing journey begins now, on your plate. To understand how these foods work, we first need to understand what a hemorrhoid actually is. Forget the complicated images. Think of a garden hose. When the water flows freely, the hose remains normal. But if you step on it, creating a pressure point, what happens? Water accumulates before the kink, and the wall of the hose begins to bulge, to dilate. A hemorrhoid is exactly that. A vein at the end of your rectum that, due to excessive pressure, becomes inflamed and swollen. The cause of this pressure? Almost always, it's hardened stool and the straining to pass it. It's a mechanical problem that generates an inflammatory response. Therefore, our strategy needs to have 2 clear targets. First, reduce the inflammation that causes pain and swelling. Second, ensure that the water, that is, the stool, flows through the hose without creating pressure. It's a 2-pronged approach, and this is where your diet becomes the most powerful tool you have. Let's start with our first ally, a food that many know for its tropical flavor, but few for its medicinal power: prohibited. I'm not just talking about eating the fruit, but understanding the superpower it contains, an enzyme called papain. Papain is a proteolytic enzyme, which in simple terms means it helps break down proteins. This has a 2-fold benefit for you. First, in your digestive system, it aids digestion, making the entire process smoother and more efficient. Better digestion means less waste stuck in the intestines, which in itself contributes to softer stools. But papain's true magic happens at a deeper level. When absorbed by the body, it acts as a potent anti-inflammatory agent. Think of the inflammation in your hemorrhoid as a kind of biological glue, a mixture of fibrin and other proteins that the body uses to seal off a damaged area. Papain acts as a solvent for this glue, helping to break down these inflammatory protein complexes, allowing the body to eliminate them more easily. This directly reduces swelling and pain. Including papaya in your diet, especially between meals to maximize enzyme absorption, is like sending a specialized cleanup team directly to the site of the crisis. Start with 1 slice a day. Consistency is more important than quantity. It's a simple but fundamental first step to changing the internal environment that allows hemorrhoids to thrive. We're exchanging an environment of pressure and inflammation for one of fluidity and calm. That's the principle. Now let's talk about the structure. If papaya helps clear the inflammatory mess, our second food will rebuild the foundation so the mess doesn't happen again. I'm talking about psyllium husks, or psyllium, remember? You may have heard about the importance of fiber, but here's a secret most people don't understand. Not all fiber is created equal. There are two main types, and balancing them is key to success. We have insoluble fiber, which acts like a broom, adding bulk to stool and sweeping the intestines. And we have soluble fiber, which acts like a sponge, absorbing water and forming a soft gel. It's this gel that is the true hero for hemorrhoid sufferers. Stools that are merely bulky but dry can be as difficult to pass as small, hard ones. Psyllium is almost magical because it's so rich in soluble fiber. When you mix it with water, it transforms into this smooth, viscous gel. Inside your intestines, this gel coats the stool, making it incredibly soft and easy to pass, effortlessly. Think of it like pushing a smooth, lubricated object through a tube instead of trying to force a rough stone through. The difference in pressure exerted on hemorrhoidal veins is monumental. A study published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology showed that supplementing with soluble fiber, such as psyllium, significantly reduced bleeding and pain in hemorrhoid patients in more than 50% of cases. The how here is crucial. You can't simply eat dry psyllium. You must mix a teaspoon in a large glass of water, stir well, and drink immediately before it turns into a gel in the glass. Then drink another glass of water. Water is the activator. Without enough water, fiber can have the opposite effect. Start slowly with half a teaspoon a day and gradually increase over the course of a week. Your body needs time to adapt. This is one of the most transformative habits you can adopt, as it directly attacks the mechanical cause of pressure. If you're finding this approach to looking at the internal causes of hemorrhoids helpful and enlightening, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. My goal here is to go beyond superficial advice and empower you with the knowledge you need to take lasting control of your health. Each video is a piece of this puzzle, and by joining our community, you ensure you won't miss a step on this journey to relief. Give this video a like if you've ever felt like something needed to change in your approach to the problem. Continuing our journey, we move on to our third powerful ally, a root used for millennia in both cooking and medicine. Ginger, if papaya, is the local janitor, and psyllium is the mechanical engineer. Ginger is your entire body's firefighter. The inflammation you feel in your hemorrhoid isn't an isolated event. It's often a symptom of low-grade systemic inflammation occurring throughout your body, especially in your gut. Ginger contains powerful bioactive compounds, most notably gingerol, which have remarkable anti-inflammatory effects. It works by inhibiting the production of prostaglandins and leukotrienes, which are chemicals your body produces that promote inflammation. It's as if ginger turns off the main switch on your body's fire alarm. By reducing overall inflammation, you decrease the reactivity of your immune system. This means the hemorrhoidal vein, which is already irritated and sensitive, will be less likely to overreact and swell painfully. Additionally, ginger is a known carminative, meaning it helps relax intestinal muscles and expel gas. Less gas means less bloating and less pressure on the rectal region. Incorporating ginger into your diet is easy. You can make fresh ginger tea by grating a small piece of the root into hot water, or add it grated to soups, sautéed vegetables, or smoothies. The key is regularity. A small daily dose of ginger can fundamentally change your body's inflammatory environment, making it less hospitable to hemorrhoid flare-ups. Now, I want to introduce our fourth food, which is perhaps the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory known to science. I'm talking about red and purple fruits, such as blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and cherries. The vibrant color of these fruits isn't just beautiful. It's the signature of their most powerful ingredients, flavonoids, especially anthocyanins. Here, we're going a step beyond simply calming inflammation. We're starting to repair and strengthen the underlying structure of the problem, the walls of your veins. Think of the wall of a vein as the tissue of a balloon. A new, strong balloon can be inflated and deflated repeatedly, but an old balloon, with weakened latex, creates a misshapen bubble at the weakest point when inflated. Your hemorrhoidal veins are that weak point. The flavonoids found in these fruits work in two crucial ways. First, they are extremely potent antioxidants, neutralizing free radicals that damage the cells of the vein walls, making them weak and brittle. Second, and more importantly, they have a venotonic effect. This means they improve the tone and elasticity of the vein walls. They help tighten and strengthen this venous tissue, making it less likely to bulge and bulge out when subjected to pressure. It's like replacing the old, worn-out tissue of a balloon with new, reinforced tissue. There are numerous studies on the effects of flavonoids on chronic venous insufficiency, a condition that shares many characteristics with hemorrhoids. They have consistently been shown to improve circulation, reduce swelling, and strengthen capillaries. A handful of these fruits a day, whether in your yogurt, oatmeal, or as a snack, can, in the long run, rebuild the structural integrity of your veins, treating not only the symptom, swelling, but the root cause, weakness of the venous wall. I remember a patient, let's call him Alex. Alex was a middle-aged man, a long-distance driver, who spent hours sitting. He came to my office in despair. The pain was so intense he could barely work. He had tried every ointment and wipe on the market, but the relief was always temporary, lasting only a few hours. He felt trapped in a cycle of pain and frustration. When we began working together, we introduced precisely these principles. We started with psyllium and plenty of water to address the mechanical issue, then added an intense focus on anti-inflammatory, flavonoid-rich foods like ginger and blueberries. It took a few weeks, but the change was profound. He told me, "Doctor, for the first time in years, I don't think about my body all day. I just live. Going to the bathroom has gone from being a dreaded event to just a normal part of my day." Alex's story perfectly illustrates that the solution is not in fighting the symptom, but in nourishing the body so it can heal. Now I want you to reflect for a moment. How many times have you focused solely on the external pain, applying a cream, hoping the problem would magically disappear from the outside in? Leave a comment below telling me what your biggest frustration has been in trying to deal with hemorrhoids so far. Is it the relief that doesn't last? The confusion about what actually works? Sharing your experience not only helps you process it, but also shows others in this community that they are not alone in their struggle. Let's move on to our fifth element, a golden spice that has been the foundation of Ayurvedic medicine for centuries: turmeric. The active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin, and if ginger is the firefighter, curcumin is the elite negotiating team that swoops in and defuses the bomb at the molecular level. Curcumin is one of the most studied anti-inflammatory compounds on the planet. Its action is so powerful that it rivals that of some anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the side effects. It works by blocking a molecule called NF-κB. Think of NF-κB as a master switch within your cells that, when turned on, activates genes related to inflammation. Chronic stress, a poor diet, and other factors can leave this switch permanently on, creating a silent inflammatory storm that fuels problems like hemorrhoids. Curcumin enters the cell and physically turns off this switch. This stops the production of inflammatory cytokines at the source. For your swollen hemorrhoid, this means less pain, less redness, and a significant reduction in swelling. However, there's an important detail about curcumin. It's not easily absorbed by the body on its own. To unlock its power, it needs a partner. And its best partner is piperine, the active compound in black pepper. Piperine can increase the bioavailability of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Therefore, the practical guide here is not only to use more turmeric, but also to always combine it with a pinch of black pepper. Add this combination to eggs, soups, rice, or roasted vegetables. A small, consistent amount is much more effective than an occasional large dose. This is a perfect example of how knowing how to use a food is as important as what to use. The sixth food group on our list is dark green leaves, such as spinach, kale, and Swiss chard. We often think of them only in terms of fiber, and yes, they do contribute to that. But their true superpower in fighting hemorrhoids comes from an essential mineral that many populations are deficient in: magnesium. Magnesium is nature's relaxation mineral. It plays a crucial role in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, including muscle and nerve function. Now, how does this relate to your problem? Your intestines are essentially one long muscle. For stool to move smoothly through the colon, this muscle needs to contract and relax in a coordinated rhythm, a process called peristalsis. When you're magnesium deficient, your muscles tend to become tense and prone to spasms. In your intestines, this leads to slow and irregular transit. Stool stays stagnant longer, the body reabsorbs more water from it, and it becomes hard and dry. Furthermore, the anal sphincter itself is a muscle. Chronic tension in this area can worsen pain and make it difficult to pass stool. Magnesium helps relax both the smooth muscles of the intestine, promoting regular peristalsis, and the anal sphincter. It also has a gentle osmotic effect on the intestines, drawing water into the colon, which helps soften stool. Therefore, by ensuring adequate magnesium intake through dark leafy greens, you're actually relaxing your digestive system from the inside out, allowing everything to flow as it should. A large salad a day or a handful of spinach in your morning smoothie is a simple and incredibly effective strategy for ensuring you get this vital mineral. The seventh item on our list isn't exactly a food, but it's the catalyst that makes all the others work. Water. I know it sounds basic, but listen carefully, because this is the one piece most people neglect, rendering all their other efforts futile. You can eat all the fiber in the world, but without enough water, that fiber turns from your best friend into your worst enemy. Remember the analogy of soluble fiber as a sponge? What happens to a dry sponge? It's hard and inflexible. It's only when you fill it with water that it becomes soft and expandable. In your intestines, fiber without enough water can form a dense, sluggish mass, almost like cement, worsening constipation and dramatically increasing pressure on hemorrhoidal veins. Water is what activates fiber, allowing it to form that soft, voluminous gel that effortlessly cleans your system. Furthermore, chronic dehydration, even mild, causes your body to try to conserve water in every way possible, and one of the first sources it draws water from is your colon. This means that if you're not drinking enough, your body is actively working to harden your stool. You're unknowingly creating the very problem you're trying to solve. The 8 glasses a day recommendation is a good starting point, but a better rule of thumb is to observe the color of your urine. It should be light yellow. If it's dark, you need to drink more. And don't wait until you're thirsty to drink. Thirst is already a sign that dehydration has begun. Carry a water bottle with you throughout the day. Make it your constant accessory. Every sip of water is an act of kindness to your inflamed veins. It's the foundation on which all healing is built. Before we reveal the last food, I want to pause to talk about responsibility. While these foods are natural and safe for the vast majority of people, it's important to exercise caution in some situations. If you have a pre-existing medical condition, especially kidney disease, or are taking blood-thinning medications, it's wise to talk to your doctor before making drastic changes to your diet, especially regarding supplements like psyllium or high doses of turmeric and ginger. For example, turmeric may have a mild blood-thinning effect, and psyllium may affect the absorption of certain medications if taken concurrently. My mission is to empower you with safe and effective information. Being responsible is part of that process. Remember, the goal is integrated health, and that includes open communication with your healthcare provider. Finally, our eighth and final food group is legumes, such as lentils, chickpeas, and beans. I saved them for last because they perfectly encapsulate many of the benefits we've discussed. They're a true nutritional powerhouse for gut health. First, they offer a fantastic combination of soluble and insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber provides bulk, and soluble fiber creates the soft gel, ensuring perfect stool texture and consistency. Second, they're excellent sources of minerals like magnesium and potassium, which, as we've seen, are crucial for proper bowel muscle function. Third, legumes are rich in flavonoids, the same compounds found in berries, which help strengthen vein walls. It's as if nature created a food specifically designed to combat hemorrhoids on multiple fronts. I understand that some people avoid legumes because of gas. The key to avoiding this is proper preparation and gradual introduction. Soaking grains in water for at least 8 hours or overnight before cooking and discarding the soaking water helps break down oligosaccharides, complex sugars that can be difficult to digest. Start with small portions, like 2 or 3 tablespoons a day, and allow your gut microbiome to adapt. The good bacteria in your gut will learn to digest this wonderful fiber, and the initial discomfort will subside over time. Lentil soup or hummus, chickpea dip, are delicious ways to incorporate these nutritional powerhouses into your diet. I recall another patient, Sam, a young teacher who suffered in silence. Shame prevented her from talking about it, and the constant pain drained her energy and joy in teaching. She felt it was a personal failing, something she would have to endure forever. When she finally sought help, we mapped out this exact plan. She began to view food not as a source of anxiety, but as her personal pharmacy. She swapped processed snacks for berries and nuts, added psyllium to her morning routine, and made lentil soup a regular. The transformation, she said, was like the sun shining again after a long storm. She found not only physical relief, but also a sense of empowerment. She had taken control of her own health and prevailed. These stories are not exceptions. They are the norm when the right approach is applied consistently. Now, as we look at this list, papaya, psyllium, ginger, berries, turmeric, leafy greens, water, and legumes, a clear picture emerges. The cure for swollen hemorrhoids isn't a single magical food, but a symphony of nutrients working in harmony. It's about reducing inflammation, softening stool, strengthening veins, and relaxing the digestive system. And while I've given you the tools, I know what you might be thinking right now. Doctor, this all makes perfect sense, but it's a lot to remember. How do I get the right dose of curcumin and black pepper every day? How do I ensure the perfect balance of soluble and insoluble fiber? How do I make sure I'm getting the right flavonoids to strengthen my veins? It's a valid concern. In today's busy world, managing each of these components individually every day can be challenging and, let's be honest, an easy path to failure. Consistency is key, and complexity is the enemy of consistency. It's precisely for this reason, seeing so many patients struggling to piece this puzzle together on their own, that I feel a responsibility to point the way in a simpler, more integrated direction. An ideal solution to this problem needs to follow some fundamental principles we discussed. First, it must provide a high-quality source of soluble fiber, such as psyllium, in the correct dosage to ensure soft, effortless stools. Second, it must contain potent, bioavailable anti-inflammatory agents, such as curcumin, to attack swelling and pain at the root. Third, it must include venotonic ingredients, such as flavonoids, to rebuild and strengthen the integrity of vein walls, preventing future flare-ups. And finally, It must be simple, safe, and easy to incorporate into your daily routine. After much research and analysis, to spare my patients the guesswork and the risk of purchasing low-quality products, I identified a protocol that encapsulates all of these principles. I recommend it because it was formulated with this holistic approach. For those looking for a direct and reliable way to apply everything we learned today, I've left a link in the description and in the pinned comment below. Consider it a shortcut, my personal recommendation for a solution I trust that delivers the right components, in the right doses, in an integrated way. Click there to see how this approach can simplify your journey to relief. Now, let's recap our philosophy. Your body is not your enemy. The pain you feel is a signal, a desperate messenger asking for help. For a long time, you may have tried to silence the messenger with topical solutions. Today, you learned to listen to the message. The message is that your body's internal environment, inflammation, pressure, structural weakness, needs to change. Each of the 8 elements we discussed is a fundamental piece in this transformation. Papaya, with its papain that clears inflammation. Psyllium, which redesigns the mechanics of bowel movements. Ginger and turmeric, which combat inflammation at a systemic and molecular level. Berries that rebuild the walls of your veins. Leafy greens that relax your intestinal muscles with magnesium. Legumes that offer a complete package of fiber and nutrients. And water, the universal solvent that makes it all possible. You no longer need to feel powerless or hostage to your condition. You now have a map. You understand the terrain, you recognize the obstacles, and you have the tools to navigate your way to healing. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your first step can be as simple as adding a slice of papaya to your breakfast or swapping your soda for a glass of water. Each small, conscious choice, compounded day after day, builds a new reality for your health. Don't underestimate the power of these small changes. They are the foundation upon which lasting health is built. The relief you seek isn't an event, it's a process. And that process is entirely within your control, starting right now. Thank you for giving me your attention and trust today. I know this is a sensitive topic, and my goal was to treat it with the seriousness and empathy it deserves. If this knowledge resonated with you, if it brought clarity and hope, please subscribe to the channel to continue receiving guidance like this. Most importantly, share this video with someone you know who may be suffering in silence. A single share can be the catalyst that changes someone's life, lifting them out of pain and shame and onto the path to healing and empowerment. Remember, you have the power to rewrite your health story. Start today. I'll be here to guide you every step of the way.